Claressa, it's quite a turnout today. It must take you back when you get this amount of press following around. They're all here for you, right?
Yes. It happens all the time, but I know it's super huge to be here in Saudi, where I'll be the first woman to fight here in MMA. Me and Kelsey will be bringing MMA to Saudi Arabia, so I know it's a huge deal for them here.
You've set so many records in boxing. It must be nice to do that now in a different sport, and I know you're so eager to go out there. It's been, what, 2.5 years since your last fight, and you've probably made a lot of improvements in there, right?
It has been a long time I've been in the cage, but I've still been working. I've been grinding, and I'm super excited to get out there and show what I've learned and just take another step toward being PFL MMA champion.
I watched the embedded for this, and you've been getting some good training. I know I spoke to you about 2.5 years ago. You were doing some work with Huda, but your camp for this one, where has it been at? And your main coach, I believe, is it Joaquin? How has that been?
Yeah, so for this camp, I've trained in Lansing, Michigan. An hour from my house. I've driven an hour or 2 hours from my house, and then back home twice a day for the past since September. So I'm with Team Murcielago, and my main coach is Joaquin Rodriguez, and he's a very tough coach. He's a very tough coach, but I think it's what I need. I've had a very hard training camp. It hasn't been easy by far, but I've learned a lot, and I'm better than what I was 2 years ago. And it doesn't feel like I've had 2 years off of MMA, because I've still been fighting in boxing. I had to go back and do my job in boxing and have my fights there. But now that it feels like I never left really, because I came back to MMA and I still knew everything that I knew, and I've learned more. So
obviously you're a pound for pound great in boxing, but you come to this almost as a
novice.
Yeah, a novice, right? What's the ultimate goal in MMA? Is it become a pound for pound great? Is it become a world champion? Do you really have those aspirations yet, or do you not know?
My biggest aspiration for MMA is just to be PFL World Champion. That's all I really want from MMA. I want to do it at the same time as I'm boxing champion. So within the next 2-3 years, I would like to be fighting for the World Championship against whoever the PFL World Champion is at the time. You know, right now, we just look at Pacheco as somebody who we want to fight. We looked at Kayla, naturally with the UFC, but, you know, that's what we were kind of working toward. I know it's a long way from right now, but it's going to take baby steps to get there. I'm just going to enjoy the journey, like however it comes. Like, I would love to do this being undefeated and being unmatched and untouched, but I'm going to be matched tough every fight, because all these girls know more in MMA than me. So.
Speaking of big fights, I know you faced off with Cyborg. That would be great, maybe boxing and MMA. Would you be up for maybe a two fight deal with her?
No, I wouldn't. I would box against her for sure, but MMA, we're talking about, she's an MMA legend. Like, even though at the moment I don't really like her and her attitude, and the fact that we were friends and now all of a sudden we're not, because I had some money for us to make a fight in boxing, and now all of a sudden she's mad that I called her about it. Like, how did that make sense? But she's still an MMA legend. She's been in this game. I've been in boxing for 17 years plus. She's probably been in MMA longer. So she has my full respect. And getting ready to fight against Chris Cyborg in an MMA match is very serious. And if you think I'm going to get in there and not have a fair chance, then that's just not going to happen. So I believe in 3 years you can probably say, Claressa, would you fight against this person or that person or that person? And I'll be like, oh yeah, for sure. Because I'll know what I need to know. But right now, I'm not facing any of those girls who are at the top right now. And that goes for Larissa, Kayla, Holly, Chris Cyborg. Not until I know everything that I need to know to where I can compete in there, you know. But I know in boxing I can beat all of them, because I'm a boxing world champion and I'm the GOAT in boxing. But in MMA, I'm just keeping it real. Like, not going to see it until about 3-4 years, like me fighting against the top women.
Last one, obviously you're not even 30 yet, but you've been in this game for such a long time. How do you sort of differ the boxing and MMA training? Because I think the last boxing fight was June, right?
Yes. Was
it solely MMA from then? Obviously you probably mixed with a lot of boxing too, but how are you going to switch between the next two for the next couple of years, given you want to be a PFL World Champion? It's quite hard to differ, right?
So I've spoken with my team, and I think I'm going to be with Team Mercy forever. I feel like I'm locked in with them forever now. It's weird. I don't have to train for boxing, if that makes sense. It's just so easy. I go in there and I beat those girls up. I defend my undisputed championship and I go home. There are some fights I'll put in 6 weeks for, 8 weeks, or 10. But most of my fights recently I put in 4 to 6 weeks. So with that, now after I have this fight here, I do have a boxing match scheduled for June, July in boxing. But I feel like after I fight here, I'm still going to be doing, I probably do boxing in the morning and MMA at night. And that's just to keep building my ground game and keep getting strong. But I don't have to go as hard as I go for a camp to keep learning the ground game and the cage game, to keep adding that to my arsenal. But boxing, I'll never lose my boxing IQ and my boxing skills, if that makes sense.
And just last one, sorry. Do you think the Savannah Marshall fight will maybe happen next year, this year? Or does she need maybe a couple fights, given you've already had a few?
I don't know what Savannah Marshall needs. I don't know if she can't beat me in nothing. That's what I know.